What is your name and where are you from?
My name is Philip Hoball. I live in Pittsboro, North Carolina.
And how did you originally hear about my lessons?
I was on YouTube. I was looking for a tutorial about a certain song and came across your method.
Awesome. What did you like most about learning from my method?
A couple things. The notation that you do made it simple for me to very quickly find where I needed to find on the keyboard. Number two, you broke down the music into parts so you can master the certain parts of the song and then move on to the other parts. Um, I think also what I would call hidden gems within your lessons, which was where you would teach somebody how to play like for instance, a B7 chord with your thumb, which
Mhm.
changes the sound of it and makes it much fuller. But
Yeah,
it's all those little things that added up to great lessons.
sure. And what makes my lessons different from other online piano lessons?
I think some of the other folks don't slow down. They also maybe kind of gloss over some of the important parts of the song, like the timing or maybe how to break things out for emphasis. Again, I think in your lessons, you'll actually stop in the middle of a passage and say, "I need you guys to understand that it has to be played this way for effect." Like you'll use your own words for it, but like you explain why it's done that way.
Excellent. It's important to know
I
why.
think, yeah, I think one of the first lessons you did for me was a Leon Russell tune, Tightrope,
Oh,
and that has a
yes. Okay.
very interesting beginning, and the way you explain that um, it was a eureka moment for me. Let me put it to you that way.
Awesome. Leon Russell, one of the most underrated musician singers
Mm-hmm.
ever, I think.
Yep.
Uh, on a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you with my lessons?
I would give you a 10 because I think everything that I've ever gotten from you has been extremely accurate, well written out, and it's really helped me understand the song and have confidence in playing it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Would you recommend my lessons to a family member and a friend, or if so, why?
I have, um, I have, and it's because I think the way that you approach it is you break it down, you go slow, you're very thorough, and you have fun. You look like you're having a good time
I
while you're
am.
doing it. You're very enthusiastic about everything that you teach, and that comes across to the people who are trying to learn because they can be intimidated, but they see you're relaxed and they see that you're having fun with it. In no time, they're going to have fun with it.
Awesome. Philip, thank you so much for doing this with me. I'm going to send you an email here in a second, but I hope to talk to you again. If you're ever in the Waco area, look me up. We have Magnolia here. Wives loves to go shopping at Magnolia. We can grab a cup of coffee or
Yeah,
something.
I'm afraid to go there.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
maybe.
because my
All right.
wife would. Yeah, my wife would. She would have a good time in Magnolia. Believe me.
There's
I do
plenty of stuff to
occasionally get
buy
down to
here.
Texas. I occasionally do get down to Texas. I do work for HEB,
Yeah.
um, and so I probably get down in the Houston, San Antonio area probably once a quarter or something like that.
Uh-huh.
So, mhm.
Awesome. Yeah. Seriously, look me up.
Absolutely,
All right. Thank you,
absolutely.
Phil.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Wonderful, Phil. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Well, thank you for doing this on short notice.
Sure. Glad to.
So, yeah, I'll have to tell you right off the bat, the Black Crows thing that was such a gift to me and my wife, and just the Black Crows community.
Yeah.
We really love doing that. We want to do more stuff like that. We haven't yet, but that was really fun. So, thank you for making that possible. Um,
It was a great video and enjoyed your wife's singing to it. And it's interesting you mentioned the Black Crows community because they're very, and you may have introduced me to Eddie
oh,
in
really?
a roundabout way. Maybe it might have been your Talks to Angels, or there was another Black Crows tune that you did.
Uh huh.
And it was in watching that video that got me to kind of go and listen to more of his stuff. And the Black Crowes community is very divisive when it comes to Eddie. He is the marquee of what they hold all the other people who try to take his spot
Yeah.
since his untimely death.
Yeah. Well, as far as, just because someone's not popular doesn't mean they weren't the best.
Right,
And
right,
to me, it's from what I know, and I would consider myself, maybe a peer, a lot of these guys, maybe not, maybe the lower end or whatever. But to me, there's no one that captured the gospel blues Southern style like he did. Others,
right,
attempted it, and it's as much as knowing when to not play as it is when to play. And I
right,
was just amazed at everything he did on
right,
the albums. Not only that, in the during live performances, the stuff he did too. And
right.
hearing later that they were, whacked out on drugs and still playing that way, I can't believe believe it. But
Yeah,
uh, he just was amazing to me. He's at the top for that
yeah,
style. He's at the
absolutely.
top for me, and I've heard everyone.
Yeah, he's a from the Chuck Leval or Chuck Level and Nicky Hopkins, sort of those Billy Preston to a certain extent, although I think Billy is much more jazzier. But
Yeah,
those guys have a way of playing the blues that not many people can play.
yeah, right. So, yeah, fantastic. They're touring right now, actually, and I was
They are.
trying to get some tickets for me and my wife because we've got to see him again
Yeah,
before it's too late. But Chris still has his voice. They haven't
yeah,
changed any keys. He still sings in the original keys.
exactly.
Yeah, the both of them together, the brothers.
Yeah,
That's where the magic was.
yeah,
So thank you for doing this again. And the
sure.
reason I'm doing it, and even in short notice too, because I've never worked in 18 years. I've never worked on the business side of all of this. And a lot of you
Right,
guys are business guys, and everyone goes, "What?" But they've looked at my stuff and they go, "How have you done this well without having never work in marketing or nothing?" I was like, "I don't know." So they're telling me if you actually worked at it a little bit, you might could do a lot better than you're doing.
right.
So part of the thing is the testimonials, and I've actually loved it. And I'm behind my quotas, why so I'm emailing some people. I waited to the last minute, but getting video testimonials. And what I've loved, I didn't realize I would love this so much, is getting to know you guys personally has been a blast. It's like a shot of adrenaline to me. I thought it would be, oh no, I got to do this too, as well as the high requests and everything. But I love it. It gets me pumped up and wanting to do more lessons. So I've
Yeah.
had a great time. So how long have you been with my lessons? How has it been? 5 years? What do you think?
I came across your lessons in, I think it was 2014. And I had gone through some personal stuff and was playing in a band. Actually, had played guitar and mandolin and banjo. One of your colleagues, a guy named Banjo Ben, I
Yes, I
subscribe.
love me.
I'm a gold member with him,
Oh, good.
and he does a lot of what you do. You guys make it very easy for everybody who has a little bit of musical background to sort of pick something else up, and he does musical notation, but also the actual tabs with the
Yeah,
notes and scale or the fret number. So I I was the band that I was playing in was a original music, and they just were looking for some keyboards and maybe some organ, nothing intricate. And I came across some stuff that you were doing, and because I could not read music, and I was used to using Banjo Ben's number notations, it
yeah,
took me. It was very easy for me to translate what I had learned from him in reading your stuff.
yeah,
And like Beatle tunes that I thought I would never ever learn, like you never even stuff from Abbey Road that I never thought I would learn. You
yeah,
taught that stuff very easily,
yeah,
absolutely. And I thought, the way that you did the lessons, the way you broke the song up, I love the way that you started off by doing a version of it or playing it, and then you would slow it down. There are some things that you do, and I don't think you even realize that you're doing it. You will teach people how to do inversions or little tricks and tips. Like, for instance, I'll never forget it. There was a lessons that you showed how to play a B7 chord using your thumb across
yeah,
the A and the B.
yeah,
And I mean, I've adapted that across the board to
yeah.
numerous dominant seventh chords. But there are
Uh-huh.
things that you do within the lessons that are just these like little um, I don't know what you would call it, like tips and tricks that kind
Yeah,
of, because you
sure.
know how difficult it is for some people to maybe fully chord four notes within one hand, or things of that nature. And that's what I really enjoy, is that you um, teach people how to play that maybe didn't go through the rigorous classical training that you went through. Like
Hmm.
you'll drop those kind of nuggets in pretty much every lesson I've ever seen you do. That there's
Awesome.
always something that you do that is like a I don't know if they call it like a piano hack, or because that's really
Yeah,
not
yeah.
what it is.
I know what you mean.
It's just a little nugget, and I mean there are times when you'll say, well, this is in the key of, this is in the major key, but you can use this minor pentatonic scale. You'll
Yeah.
you'll drop little things like that in there, and I'm not sure that it's in the course of, like, I guess, the passion of what you're doing. You just drop that in there, and a lot of people would maybe charge extra for that, but it's for us guys who are trying to. All of your students would probably say the same thing. You give a lot more than I think you ever charge. I think
Wow.
that's for sure.
Thank you, Phil. Well, I appreciate that. You're quite. I would love to hear you play because I'm getting the feeling you're pretty advanced yourself to hear you say dominant seventh
Right.
and the things that you're saying. You're a music guy for sure, and you play in a
Sure.
band. Do you play in a band right now currently?
Yeah, we currently I play in a Beatle cover band for about the
Oh,
past 2 or 3 years. The name of the band is called Beetlejuice.
that's great. Great. Where can
And
they catch you? Because a lot of people are going to see this. Where can people
yeah,
catch you playing?
they can pretty much catch us in North Carolina, in the Raleigh area.
Okay.
We it's a bunch of guys who have been, there's five in the band that have that were challenged to play Beatles stuff, and people go, "Oh, that's easy," and then until you go to play it,
Yeah.
then it's not so easy. So
No, yeah.
it's been great.
Great. Yeah, some of the Beatles music, a lot of it is quite complicated if you
Yeah,
consider everything that's going on. It really
right.
is. Um, see, I lost my train of thought just getting on that band stuff.
Sure.
Eh, oh, I was Ben. Yeah, I wanted to talk about him. Banjo Ben, love that guy. I remember
He's great.
everybody remembers me on the whiteboard. Well, I remember
Right.
him because I have a banjo and I pick around. I follow
Hmm.
what he does, and
Right.
try to flat pick guitar just for fun. It's
Sure.
not my instrument. I'm a piano player
Mhm.
that tries other things. So I remember him being on and he holding up a sheet of paper to the camera with his little numbers on
Yeah.
there. And so we both come from way back, humble
Yeah.
backgrounds as far as that goes. But I love that
Well,
guy. I love what he's doing. I actually
yeah.
see his sisters quite a lot
Yeah.
because they have relatives that go to my kids' school. So I'll see him around here in Texas.
Sure.
And I know he goes around doing shops and stuff. And I
Right.
want to give a shout out to Banjo Ben in case
Yep.
anybody wants to do a workshop. He does those, all
Right in
across
Texas.
yeah, he does some
He
in
has them right
Texas.
there in Texas, probably not very far from you,
Sure, and
but
I read that they go fishing and hunting and stuff like that too.
they
So if
do.
you're in
Hmm.
the, he's a great guy to do a workshop with. Great teacher, and I
Yeah.
have to credit. Go ahead.
Well, I think both of you are pioneers in the YouTube music teaching, because both of you started around the same time, that
Yeah.
the early tens, 10, 11, early, maybe even a little
Yeah.
earlier than that. But
Uh-huh.
both of you started and were probably the biggest resources at the time that I started really learning from him. Man of Constant Sorrow was a big thing, and
Yeah.
bluegrass is huge in North Carolina. And a lot of what he was teaching was very fundamental. And both of you guys would slow down, and that's the big thing, is
Yeah.
that the videos that you were putting out and the notation and tabs were incredibly accurate, but also allowed people to kind of slow down and really learn the song.
Yeah, I really feel we'll probably be teaching less music lessons in heaven together. I don't know, but I love that guy, and I actually he contacted me for help getting started with his stuff in the beginning, and
Sure.
now I'm kind of following him because
Right.
he's taken that step of meeting people and actually teaching
Yeah.
one on one and doing
Yeah.
conferences, and that's what we're going to do. Our business coaches
Right.
are pushing us to do that, so I'm kind of following his
Sure.
coattails now. But love him. I would love to meet him again. I've never met him in person, but we've talked
Yeah.
several times on the
Yeah.
phone and. He's a great guy. Well, I have to credit because you talked about the stuff I add in the lessons and the accuracy and all of that. I feel like my whole life I've been trained to do what I'm doing now, and
Hmm.
One is the classical background because it's
Mhm.
very rigorous and you learn a lot of tech. You learn how to technically do anything on piano if you go all the way with it. And then I can take that. And when I'm teaching somebody, they don't need all of that, but they may need a little bit of it here or there for the particular song they're playing because they're not trying to be a Beethoven or Chopin
Right.
or anything. So that background has led me to be able to help in technical areas, but also all the guinea pigs I call them. I taught for 20 years, 50 students a week,
Mhm.
adult, kids, all walks of life, and you learn a thing or two about works with people, doing
Right.
that one on one. And I was terrible at first, and I learned, okay, this works, this doesn't, and the traditional way of with the books and the graded system doesn't. Just doesn't really work with most people, so I
Right.
came up with a different way to do it, and they were my guinea pigs, and I learned what worked, and I kind of when I finally went online in 2007, I was ready with all of that to finally put it in video
Right.
form. So I feel like a lot of the guys that are starting now are they can play well and they have the potential to be good teachers, but I would recommend that they actually teach some live students for a while so they can find
Right.
out what the experience is on the other end because they would be very surprised, I think. Um,
Mhm.
so you come from so you play different instruments. Are you actively playing banjo and mandolin and guitar all the time, or
I
those?
probably play in that Beatles band. I probably maybe 35% play guitar. To do some stuff like if, for instance, if there was like if we're doing one after 909, or if we're doing, like saw her standing there. There's very little piano,
Uh-huh.
and so I saw her standing there. So I'll play the rhythm parts in that, and
Yeah,
mandolin. Generally, I'll sit in and play with people. If we go, there are music festivals here in the eastern part of North Carolina
yeah.
that I go and attend, and I generally go and sit in those picking circles and play mandolin. There's
Oh
not
wow.
many folks. I have a nice little Weber that I play
Yeah.
that was custom built for me probably 10 years ago. No, probably more than that. And
Wow.
Bruce Weber built that, and that's fun to play too. But it's interesting when I started playing piano, the mandolin kind of opened up differently for me because there are many similar harmonic uh, um, notations or sounds that sound very much like a piano
Oh
with a
yeah.
mandolin. So
I've noticed that actually. Yeah.
yeah, and it changed. It's funny. Taking lessons from Ben changed my worldview of playing guitar, and then taking lessons from you changed my worldview of any other instrument that I played. Like I learned backwards, and I think Ben is actually a pretty decent piano player as well. I used a
Yeah.
music major at the Texas A&M, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But I wish that I had started on piano too, because as a linear instrument, it makes more sense to any other
It
instrument
does.
that you go to pick up. That the theory becomes makes way more sense
It does. Yes.
in a linear fashion.
I've
So
described it like this. If you have,
yeah.
you have the piano laid out with one keyboard. If trying to learn theory on guitar, which can be done, is like having
Yeah.
six keyboards lined up and you're playing a
Hmm.
different note on each keyboard in a different place
Right.
and trying to make that make sense. It's much
Right.
easier, like you said, linear, one keyboard, everything's in a row. And
Right.
yeah, that's true.
Yep.
Uh, so
Absolutely.
my when you came to my lessons, when you saw the way I write stuff out, the tablature with the letters on the whiteboard, was that something you had to get used to? Did it immediately click for you? What did you think about that?
I think if I had come to it not having been in band's courses, it probably would have taken me a little time to get used to.
Hmm.
But what it does is a lot of folks are intimidated by the bass clef and the G clef, and it really intimidates them because it is like learning another language. When you
Yeah,
have tablature the way that you write it out, it keeps within the timing, which is extremely important.
yeah,
Um, but it also it, it it serves to lessen intimidation that's brought forth by um, proper musical notation. It makes it easier for the common person who's a little intimidated by having to learn,
yeah. Because it's hard.
common music notation. It is. It's intimidating, and I think most people who come to your lessons are curious to learn a song that they really want to play, and they have a little bit of musical acumen, and they don't want to buy the sheet music. They just want to learn how to play it.
Sure.
And there are a lot of folks. There's another guy out there called Nate that does piano stuff that is kind of doing what you're doing. But
Hmm.
like you initially, YouTube was served as a place you could go to learn how to fix your brush hog, or
Yeah.
how to how to you know how to properly pick the right thing for your chickens or whatever it
Yeah.
is. And
Yeah.
then music became a lot of what we would learn about music came from initially guys like yourself and Ben. And so your way of teaching, when people ask me, hey, can you teach me how to play piano or guitar, the first thing I say to them is, I want you to pick out a reasonable song
Yes.
that you like to learn.
Right.
And they said, well, why that? And I said, well, because if you're not having fun, why do it? But
Yeah.
there's two reasons why I ask them to do that. One is they'll be way more motivated to learn how to play because they love that song. And number two, if they're not playing it right, they'll know right away because it doesn't sound right.
Right.
And in the few times that I've ever taught anybody that, I found that that's worked. And that's really lifting your idea. Is people come to you, it's really lifting your idea and Ben's idea. It's coming to you to excuse me, to learn a song that they've always wanted to learn. And then they watch you play it and they go, I might could do that. And then they do. And there's also an amazing amount of enthusiasm with both you and Ben in how you do that stuff. There is a love of anything. Like if you've ever transcribed the song for somebody or was a higher request and you didn't like the song,
Yeah.
I would never know. I would have
Yeah.
absolutely no idea because you approach every single song with the same level of enthusiasm that I think, again, it's professional, but it's infectious too.
Thank you. Well, I know that it's important to them, and you're right.
Right,
Some of them I'm not as thrilled to do, but I know that it's important to someone else, and that kind of
right,
fuels me because people say, I'm learning this for a wedding. I'm learning
right,
this for my girlfriend. I'm learning this for my wife. I have cancer, and I want to learn this song, while
right,
I'm still alive. Something like that.
right.
And I hear these stories. Sometimes I don't know why, but blind people love my lessons for some reason.
Yeah,
I haven't figured that out yet, but that's what fuels me. Is I know it's important to them, and so that makes
right.
it important to me. I
Absolutely.
love and talking about Ben. He's one of those guys. We need to just talk about Ben one for a while and get another podcast or something. But
You guys should
he,
just really do one together. I think it would be, to be honest with you, I think it would be very interesting to hear because both of you guys have built a great business in teaching, and you have legions of students that have really, you both of you have done something that probably other people have never done before. Is you brought a lot of folks into music who didn't think they could do it or didn't
yeah.
have the resource to do it, and now they only see music the way that you guys teach. That's the
That's what
only
I
way they
love.
see it.
Yeah, I love helping someone who thought they couldn't or had
Right.
needed a lifeline. Another way to do it. And
Mm-hmm.
if I can help in that, it's wonderful. But Ben is great because he is. Some people are piano players that play guitar, or a
Right.
guitar player that plays piano.
That's right.
He is truly a master of every instrument he plays.
Yep.
I'm not ready to say he's maybe because I play piano. I've heard him play. I'm not ready to say he's a master piano player. But on anything you pick. He is a
Mm-hmm.
master.
Yep.
Banjo, mandolin, guitar, whatever else he wants to pick. He's
Right.
truly a master on all of them. It's
Yep.
not like has a home instrument. I mean, he's good on all of them. I don't see how he does it. Anyway, but I want Shauna to pick her head around here if you would. She just walked in here, and just
Sure.
because remember, Shauna, this is Phil. We did the Black Crow song for. Yeah, just kind of peek your head in just for a second. There we
Hey,
go.
how are you? Good to see you. I'm
Yeah.
actually in a soundproof booth myself. I live in Pittsburgh, North Carolina, a very rural town,
Uh huh.
and we have a office downtown that if I wasn't sitting in this booth, you'd hear all the other folks that are sharing this common area and
Uh huh.
doing their business. So that's why you see all this soundproof
Ah,
stuff here.
okay. That's pretty good. Pretty good sound
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Can't hear anything except you. Well, Phil, I want to get to these questions before Zoom
Sure.
cuts me off. I just have a
Okay.
free account and they're going to cut me off in a minute. And it might feel like you're repeating yourself a little bit, but if you wouldn't
Sure.
mind just doing it again, because it's for the videographers here to arrange it. And then I'm going to send you a Google link for a Google review.
Okay.
Um, I don't, yeah, I know you're in business, but so if you are, you know how important Google is to
Yeah,
your business. And this is supposed to really help my SEO more than anything else. So if you wouldn't mind just taking
absolutely.
a minute or two to write a review for me when I send you that link. Well, let's just start. Let's just get going here.